Yeah, sure.
Wonderful, done.
Is that a YouTube Premium feature? Because I don't have
Actually,
YouTube
and
Premium.
I don't personally know how to do it, but Denver Stevo said, but
I can get it from a
he said it on
Ripper.
a public stream. He said you could use he uses 4K video downloader. It's a free app.
Yeah, video downloader. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never used it yet, but I will if I have something that if I have permission for someone to download something that was mine. Yeah.
Sure. I'm loving I love the background. I love the colors. I like the logo. Clearwater is
Yeah,
a vibe. Clearwater
It
totally is a
is.
vibe.
Whenever someone even says the word Clearwater, I get thirsty because it sounds like clear water.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know.
It is Clearwater too. Have either of you been there?
No, I just seen like the
It's so
movies
beautiful.
of it and stuff. Yeah,
Somewhere
it
I have
does.
pictures,
It does seem beautiful.
but I was scared to take pictures when we were at the event.
I don't blame you. It just like you said, it just well, from firsthand, it just seems creepy.
Yeah. Wasn't a good time either. 20 that year was a rough year.
Yeah, I still remember the Leah show when Mark Bunker was just sitting in a bench in one of the parks, and the cops came, and they're like, "Am I bothering someone sitting on a bench, guys?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Ouch."
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been stopped for walking on the road
Oh, that's
when there's no
crazy.
sidewalk. Like there's no sidewalk.
Yeah,
What are you doing? I'm walking. Where to? Does it fucking matter?
right,
Exactly.
right. Yeah, that is
um,
crazy.
and detained, and they run my stuff. That was 2017 and 2019. There was like noisy investigation type stuff. You know, that's why I pulled a lot of my stuff off of my channel. Just like, you know what, y'all, you win here. Leave me alone for like two
Yeah.
years so I can get my health back.
Yep.
Because I was dying, man. I mean, straight up.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all dying, but like
Yep.
I could feel like after after the first surgery that it wasn't over. Like it wasn't over. I needed to go back to it and get followed up on, and no one really wanted to look at it or work on it because the urologist that did the initial surgery had a couple of lawsuits already, and so they had re organized their whole business. So like all of the what would you call it, ingest, like patients, even though I had a surgery recently, I'm going back in there like, oh, we don't have your records, we don't have, you need to go through this person, this person, this person. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I just like said to hell with y'all, and went to a bigger city, because there's a really nice medical center here.
Poe on the
Howdy.
go. Welcome. How you doing, Poe?
I'm looking the right way.
We were talking
Well,
about the show last night.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
The amazing show.
Y'all
Yep.
enjoy?
Yep.
Oh hell yeah! You know what? It got me through almost 2 hours of traffic on the way back from Lake Charles. There was a
Uh,
big wreck on the Chaffalay Basin Bridge, and apparently
wow.
the troopers, were in Texas when it happened. Whatever happened on the bridge, and that
Wow.
bridge. Are you familiar with the Chaffalay Basin Bridge?
No, I'm not.
28 miles. Can't it's just one big giant bridge.
Wow.
So if you got a wreck, and it's only 2 lanes, if you got a wreck, boy, are you screwed. And that's the only way to get from Lafayette to Baton Rouge, and from Baton Rouge you get to New Orleans.
Wow.
If that gets jammed up, so it was nice. I got to listen to that whole thing, and right as we were pulling in, basically, you guys were wrapping up.
That's crazy. Now I've been across the bridge into New Orleans from or NOLA from the mainland area.
Oh,
Is
from
it?
55 or 59.
Oh, I can't even remember which one it is. It's been at least 6 years since I've been down there.
Like,
So
what state were you in? Georgia or Mississippi coming in, or Florida?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. So that'd be 55. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You come
remember.
across the Pontchartrain, and there's a long bridge there, too.
Yeah, I remember we went. I know we went into Alabama, at one point, and also
That's close.
yeah. Then we went into Mississippi, and I just remember that Alabama is the first state I've ever seen that had worse roads than Michigan. So
Oh, you should come to New Orleans. There, I mean, you can't build a road here. It's all just mud.
wow,
And so what happens is it's 14-foot big like ice cream scoop in the middle of a swamp, and it's 14 feet below sea level at its lowest. And so yeah, everything underneath it is just like it churns, the dirt churns, and there's always movement going on.
oh yeah.
And
Well, I spent a good portion of my childhood summers in Florida, so I'm quite familiar with a lot of that bog muck that comes out. So
right, and there construction always.
oh yeah, but the good thing is that you got a good amount of snakes and alligators down there to keep you happy. So
Indeed, lizards. I was just telling Cynthia that I'm like the lizards when we went to my mom's, they were like swarming like crazy.
oh yeah,
And I hadn't seen them do that in a long, not like that in a long time. It's probably because of the heat and they're coming out more at night than they do in the day. And but they're super active and they're eating June bugs.
oh
We got they're little, big old mouthful. It was like there's some happy lizards. But yeah, we got lizards from all kinds of places, all the way up to alligators.
oh yeah, I love it down there. Well, I don't know. Chad can tell you I do. I've got probably over 40 years of herpetology experience.
Are you kidding? This is like heaven for you then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Especially if you go out to the Chaffalaya Basin. You could see, dude. I mean, you could see 30 species in one little,
that's an amazing thing.
2-hour boat trip.
I was just talking with. I've done several Animal Planet and National Geographic appearances, and I was just talking to someone recently about the possibility of going down to Florida. There are reports of caiman, Nile crocodile, and monocle cobra species that are populating within the Everglades Basin down there now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That sounds extreme, but I wouldn't be surprised. The anaconda and the boa. There's boa. There is a sea monster. Basically.
When you start getting into those retics, and some of them can get up to actual 30 feet in length.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like that movie where
Anaconda.
they're out. Anaconda, yeah.
Like Eric Stoltz, man. Respect Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, I love Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, he. If you go over to the Houston Zoo, they actually have a reticulated python that I believe is right around the 29 foot length. It's the largest in captivity that's actually known about.
What about the width?
What's that?
The width, like.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what the circumference of it is. Pretty much take a 2-liter bottle and pump it up till it's about to explode. That should be about right.
Oh my, yeah, that's golly, yeah.
Now remember, they
eat cows. They'll eat cows.
They eat deer without a problem. Their cow might be a bit much for it, but a deer,
calves.
no problem. Yeah, oh yeah, calf, people. Well, just recently in Indonesia, we couldn't get over there in time. While I was in Malaysia, and I was looking at king cobras there. We got a report of an 18-year-old girl that got attacked, killed, and eaten by a reticulated python in Indonesia.
It doesn't take long, from what I hear.
No, they. Everyone thinks it's this big, slow process, but in just a few minutes, you're
dead.
It renders them unconscious, and then it starts eating. So,
yeah,
it's interesting stuff. They don't chew; they just bite and start swallowing. So, Claire, what are you doing?
I'm painting.
It looked like you were almost shocked when I called your name. So,
No.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry, what's going on?
Hey, not much. What's going on with y'all?
Doing
Very
a scene
nice.
from a friend's trip to Crete.
Oh, nice.
I have
It's going to be a present.
We when I was in Malaysia, we went over to the Strait of Malacca, and the views from there were just absolutely gorgeous. The sun had just set, and the way that it set, the light was coming from behind us, and it was lighting up the strait there in front of us, and it was just this beautiful, deep, rich blue. It was almost mesmerizing. It was so beautiful. So,
Did it have the like mountain, like real small little peninsula mountain sticking up out of the? Does that make sense?
not right where we were at, but we were up on one of those the skinny mountains that almost look like they're about almost like a wave, the way that they're ready to peel over at the top there.
Right.
We were on top of one of those where they actually have a lighthouse.
Oh, wow.
I love lighthouses.
Yeah, and I was like, I wonder if it was exactly like what you'd see in the US or in Europe, that kind of lighthouse with a spinning beacon. But what was crazy about it was there were thousands of monkeys everywhere.
Oh.
Well, that's good.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, it's not. You don't mess with them monkeys. They come in, they steal stuff. If you try to stop them, they'll attack you.
Well, is it an overpopulation, or were y'all in their space?
It's their natural habitat, and of course, anywhere where there's people at and the monkey populations are near, they're stealing garbage and things like that. Right. And it makes life so much easier for them, so they just overpopulate very quickly. And especially in that area, a lot of the mango trees and different kinds of fruit trees grow naturally in that area, so their whole area is just like a biodome for them. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy to be up 1,000 feet above the ground level below you and just look out for miles over Malaysia and just see how gorgeous that country is.
I bet.
So let me see. I think I got a picture I can send over to Chadwick. So I don't know. Yeah, I can actually.
I'll try, but last time when
I sent him some pictures earlier,
it crashed my computer. It always does that.
Hey, Joe. And also, hey, Terry, because you came in.
I'm blaming the computer.
Hey, Claire.
Chad, when you upgrade from Windows 7, it might be a little bit different.
I still got Windows 95, Poe.
Me too.
Yeah, the funny thing is I hate upgrading.
Me too.
I know. It's like, I mean, my laptop's roughly like 2 years old. I can't buy a laptop every 2 years,
Oh, yeah. Believe me.
2 years. My laptop's 10 years old. Take
wow.
that.
I deleted a bunch of files for mine, and it seems a little better, but it still crashes.
Oh, no.
Once in a while. Usually when I try to do something.
Yeah.
Like turn it on, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm having to do stuff. Having to actually use it.
Let's see if I've got some of those pictures. Yeah, it was a real good time had over there until I got malaria. So that was
how was that?
Initially when I got it, I thought I had contracted COVID. I've had COVID 4 times now. I'm fully vaccinated and boosted, and got COVID 4 times. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Trying to see if I can find those pictures. I had some really good ones. I think I posted them on my YouTube, actually.
I think, Poe, I could be wrong, but I think you could present this stuff too if you wanted to.
What's that?
The pictures.
Yeah. I was just looking at that where I can actually.
So I should send those to him then.
Yeah, or I think, if you were on StreamYard, you could do the same too, but yeah.
Yeah, on the StreamYard, it has a link down at the bottom that says present, and you're able to present your photos through there.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Roscoe's going nuts.
Upload videos and everything.
I should learn the StreamYard a little better. Julie Bittencourt does everything for me.
No.
That's the bad thing. I do all these streams, and I invite people in, and I don't even know how to use the program.
Yeah, same here.
Oh no.
And Poe on the go, you're welcome to stream your channel, of course.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? I've never tried that before. Let me try.
Yeah, the top, it should be your top right. Just says stream
Yep.
to your channel.
There we go. This is the Monday pre-show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone else is welcome too.
Chad.
And
So what is tonight's show about?
well, I'm drawing up.
As in what Aaron's show?
Drawing,
Aaron's got Jenna Miscavige on last.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be. He's gone rogue the past couple of
well,
weeks.
yeah. No, originally, Poe, you know, I don't know if you know this, but usually the pre-show was supposed to be a build up to his 7 o'clock Clearwater time show, but now he just goes on whenever. So
Yeah,
You
oh
know,
my goodness.
which is fine.
He's
It's
right in
fine.
the schedule.
He's allowed, but you know, it's like
Yeah.
we were building up. You know, we were kind of killing time and chilling out and stuff, and now now we're kind of missing his core.
Yeah, he
stuff.
just goes on whenever. I've got it on, but on mute, and I put in the chat that then we're on live here.
That's
So hopefully
funny.
maybe some people get on. And watch
I've been
us.
telling.
I got my schedule. You know, you got your schedule. You got your schedule. You got your schedule. Am I pointing?
Yeah.
I'm pointing the right directions. How about that today?
Cool.
Everyone
You know,
got their
I'm
schedule.
No, I
constantly trying to
don't
figure out
know.
how to do this because there's so many different people that are just jumping on when they want to, and it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yep.
actually be able to schedule when you can do stuff.
I know.
Joe,
was-
that time painting.
There was this kid at the Ventura Mission,
So,
and anytime they would stop him to do something, he would say, "I'm on a schedule." This is that hardcore Scientology programming. He's like, "I'm on a schedule."
Wow.
Let's see. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, Poe. I've been
Yeah.
telling everyone about your stream last night, and a lot of people like Marcus. Yeah, he's seen it. A lot of people seen it.
Here you go, Chad. See if you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Add that to the stream.
Yeah, let's break him again. Oh,
There
you
we
got
go. Oh, nice.
very cool.
It's Malaysia.
Yeah,
by the
that's,
way, I think someone's got the stream on.
That's me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Let
that's
me mute it and go get my earphones. I changed rooms.
Oh no, that's all right.
No worries.
It'll
That,
create a time paradox and rip a hole through space time.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. The body of water you see there is a river that leads down to the sea. Let me see if I can.
Oh
get it a little
wow.
bit. There we go.
Wow.
But so that, and then you have basically marshland or swampland between there and the Strait of Malacca, and this is about 1,000 feet up, right at the base of the lighthouse, looking down.
What a trip!
That looks amazing, Poe.
What's the biodiversity like from the altitudes? You know.
There's not a whole lot of difference. All the animals that are there, you see them from bottom to the top.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was interested in, as well as what will I see down here as compared to what will I see up above.
But not much difference.
No, not much at all. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll put another one up here. Let's see. Boy, that kind of got big. There we go.
Claire, where's that coming from?
That's not me.
Okay.
Here you go, Chad.
Okay, put it on again.
There you go.
Okay, got it. Nice.
Let's see here. I'm trying to find. Oh, there they are. I got a couple more here that are kind of interesting to it. Let's see. I don't know. There's. Have you heard about the Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia?
No, man, no.
All right, so we'll
Hey,
put some of
Pete.
those in. They're until I think like 5 years ago, they were the tallest twin towers in the world.
Oh,
There you go,
I'm in.
Chad.
Welcome, Pete.
Hey,
Hey,
Pete.
welcome, guys. How is everyone? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
I'm not in my home studio right now, but
Oh, I
No
didn't know
worries.
those were called the
Looks
Twin
cool.
Towers.
Wow, those
Yeah,
are
they're-
huge.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
monstrous. And
You
at
see them
night,
in movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
that bridge that connects the two towers is the largest suspension bridge in the highest suspension bridge in the world.
Damn.
The way that it's painted or whatever, at night it looks like it's almost made out of like an aged bronze. Just gorgeous building.
Trip out.
Let's see.
It is amazing.
Here. Find a good one here. Oh, here you go. That's from the. You can see how the lighting is out over the Strait of Malacca.
Wow. It looks like a painting.
Honestly, it did.
Mhm.
It was gorgeous. The water was so calm that you wouldn't realize that this is actually part of the ocean. Here.
No, exactly.
And then I saw a couple of Chad's kids out there. Wanted to be careful with them. There you go.
Let's see what we got here. Oh boy.
Chaz's siblings there.
Yeah,
Right.
is that a little monkey?
That's 3 monkeys. There's down on the right here. That's 2. That's a mother with a baby in front of it, and there's a sub-adult over here on the right upper right corner.
I'm glad Chaz isn't here because he wants a monkey.
Ooh, no, don't let him have no monkey.
until they rip your face off.
I know.
Jeez.
I had a friend growing up had a what they call them, a spider monkey, and
Oh,
you talk
wow.
about just an absolute horrible thing. They bite, pull hair, just mean little animals.
Oh.
And then
Did you see
know,
that program on them people that had one?
oh, I
Ripped the lady's face off. Yeah.
Yeah.
monkeys
Oh,
freak me out.
Yeah.
But we come around the corner, and this picture is what we found in the water there.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That's a crocodile, is it? Or
Yep,
an alligator?
saltwater crocodile.
Damn, that's a bad mofo right there.
I'd say that one was probably about 13 foot in length. It was a good size one.
I messed around with that. Alligators are real docile compared to them.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll find that like with the caiman share a lot of characteristics with crocodiles, even though they're part of the alligator family. The caiman are very aggressive. There's only one species that actively hunts on land, and that's the Cuban crocodile.
Yeah.
And they'll actually get up and gallop like a horse.
Yeah, it's crazy scary.
I did a shoot for National Geographic at one of the big reptile places down in Florida, and I was standing on a boulder about 3 foot tall, and there was a Cuban croc laying on the ground right in front of me as I'm talking to the camera. Out of nowhere, it literally sprung up and on top of that boulder with me, just a flat hop like that.
Wow.
And you hear me yell some obscenities, and then take
I
off
just
running.
screamed like a girl.
Yep.
My
Oh,
voice
it
would
was-
have got real high pitched.
It was along the lines of OUMFer. So,
And that's the way they move, right? They're very, very slow, and then they just snap, right?
it's all about them being able to conserve their energy so that when they need to, they can attack. And they're
And those jaws are just once they get into you, they're not giving up.
yeah, that's once they lock on, it's very hard to get them to separate their jaws. They have tremendous power when they're biting. But the crazy thing is that once you close their mouth, you can actually hold their mouth shut with your fingers like that.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Right.
they're a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm trying to see. I don't see any more. But yeah, I
Your
was,
idea of fun is a little different than mine.
well,
Yeah.
that just comes from the love of the reptiles, and I'm truly fascinated by them.
Sure.
You take something like a hognose snake or even a garter snake, and they eat primarily toads. So their saliva develops this toxicity to it. and they have rear fangs that are grooved. Say if this is the fang, there's a groove along the front or the back of them, whichever is going to be the most appropriate. And they develop a saliva, they'll bite on, and they'll actually chew, and that saliva will run down that groove and in.
And that'll be there for the bite.
Yeah, and what's amazing is most people don't even realize that garter snakes are a rear fang snake that's in that family of the culebrids. All the way up to and including the boomslangs out of Africa, which are very lethal snakes if they're able to bite you. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing. A lot of people don't. They just, it's just a garter snake. It's nothing. Well, if you happen to be allergic to the toxins in their saliva, they can cause anaphylaxis, and they can actually kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends on what they've been eating.
But when I was a kid, I'd come home, my hand had looked like it had been peppered up because I had so many garter snake bites all over my hands and stuff. Never even thought about it.
What's a grass snake? Is that a type of garter snake too?
Grass snake. I believe they're all within the same family.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they're. I don't know much about them.
We get grass snakes here. We get Timberland, or they look like Timberland copperheads. Mm-hmm. And then we get the regular copperheads.
You've got, I think, 2 different species. You have the southern copperhead, and then you have the broadband copperhead down there.
There you go.
So. I got a couple snakes in my family, but we don't really talk about them.
I think we all do. Gary, that was that Gary that asked that?
Is chat on? Yeah.
Hey, Julie.
I didn't have it on.
Hey, Julie.
Joe Supo. Yeah, that was the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur I was standing in front of. So, yeah, just it's almost, be honest with you, it's almost magical how it is. Juliana, hey, Juliana. Hola. Let's see.
Hola, chica.
He's not doing a show tonight at all?
No, he's pulling the same stunt he did last week to where he's supposed to go on at 7:00 Clearwater time right after my pre-show.
Is he on now?
Juliana, maybe we can do another show like in between these two.
Yeah, he's live right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jenna Miscavige, it's avail only, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Are they on like hour 3?
Probably.
No, hour 2. Well, they've been streaming for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's probably because.
I mean, I don't blame them. Like,
yeah,
I'm fascinated by her story.
Absolutely.
Things that she's at. I feel like every time I hear someone else's story, it's just they kind of like top the last one. You just can't imagine that anything can ever be topped.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it just goes further. It just gets more and more disgusting.
You know who I really want someone to interview in depth is Matt Pesh. He seems like he has the greatest stories.
Oh, Amy's husband?
Yes.
Yeah, Amy's husband. The stories he tells.
That's a good idea.
And he just sort of blows over really important topics and really things that you could really dive into. And unfortunately, he's telling him himself, but he doesn't realize the severity and how just interesting these stories really are. I think he'd be a great interview. Someone's got to get on top of that and really bang it out with him.
It sounds like good for Pro to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I got to get in touch with him and find out.
Yeah, get his contacts.
Yeah.
He seems like a very nice guy. He's a man's man.
People ask about, they talk about when I start telling the cop talk stories and things like that, and they're saying, you should write a book or something like that. You don't even think about it because that's just your life and something that happened to you.
That's what I was gonna say, man. It's like when you've lived it, it's just like talking about the weather or some other crap, And
not try to downplay it. I mean, it's literally like one of those been there, done that kind of things, and you don't even realize. Oh, most people in society never do this. So,
my therapist told me that not everyone had these kinds of experiences. You understand? No, I didn't.
It's I was talking to someone about we were in a pineapple plantation in Malaysia, and we were out there hunting king cobras. And, just talking about it, someone said, you do realize most people stay away from doing that, don't you? And I'm like,
yeah, even the people that live there, they're like, I ain't going out there.
Yeah. They call in the crazy white guys like me to go do it. So.
Nice.
Yep.
I love the cop stories, Poe, like the guy with the one arm, and he had to train the new guy, like how to handcuff him and crazy stuff.
Yeah, he was something else.
The scrap metal guy that got blown up or something. It's all crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, have you guys heard that one before?
I haven't heard any of these.
Tell it.
Okay, you know how they have those substations for the power plants where they're like half an acre and they're all fenced in. They have the big transformers with the big.
They got their own roads
on them and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they only run certain portions of them at a time, and we had a guy that. He was stealing the aluminum and copper from different electrical things. He decided he was going to go in there. And the way he would check is he would listen and see if they are humming. If they're humming, he wouldn't mess. If they hum, he wouldn't mess with them because it meant they were charged. God. So he goes over and there's one. It's not humming. What he doesn't realize is that it's holding a charge at that time.
Capacitor, man. I mean.
Wow.
Yep. Walks up, grabs hold. Next thing you know, he wakes up 35 feet away. His left arm is gone at the elbow. Both legs are gone about 6 inches under the knee. Get him to the hospital, and they actually take the bone in the bottom of his leg, right under the knee, turn it, and fuse it in place, build up skin and muscle around it, and make it into pseudo feet.
Right.
And this guy, a year later, you'd see him out and he'd be out rollerblading, just going crazy. And I mean, we're talking it's to his knee. Cool. That's the length of leg he has. I thought, man, that's awesome.
I think so too.
And he ended up, he was just one of those, he couldn't stay out of trouble. Mm-hmm. He got this huge, settlement from the electric company for it, which I don't know how
crazy.
In the world.
Wow, he's the one stealing their stuff.
That's America.
There's only 50 signs around this thing with 8-foot fence with concertina wire on the top of it.
If I'd only seen that sign, if I'd only just thought, why was that fence there?
Is that barbed wire what scratched?
Not to mention he was stealing it.
So but he got
your barbed wire.
He got a huge settlement from it. And
that's like when a burglar breaks into your house, you shoot him, and you're the guy getting in trouble for murder.
Oh, I've got a great story about that one too. But a few years later, he's blown all the money. He's back to stealing. He's doing drugs heavily, drinking heavily, and everything. And one day I'm in the station. I've got a brand new rookie that's with me. He's got maybe a week on the job. And I'm at the front desk with the lieutenant, and we were going over some paperwork, and we hear this noise, and it sounded just like this horrible, how trains sound when they put on the brakes, and that horrible screeching noise.
Yeah.
That's the noise we hear. We're just like, wow, that's kind of weird. Next thing you know, we see this car drive by the police department. It's in the wrong lane. It's going northbound in the southbound lanes next to the curb.
Oh, no.
It's throwing about 20 feet of sparks out from underneath of it because the driver front tire is gone. It's just down to the rim, and he's actually worn that down where the edges of the rim have gone flat. I looked at the lieutenant, and he looked at me, and I go, well, you don't see that every day, do you? And he goes, do you plan on doing something about it? I go, yeah. It's not like he's going to get anywhere. So I ran out and got in the car, and literally in the time it took me to run 200 feet to get to the car and jump in, he still hadn't made it the 500 feet to the corner. So I whip around. He goes around the corner. I turn on the lights, pulls right over to the curb. I go walking up. I look down at him. I'm like, well, look who we've got here. He is using a piece of floor trim he's steering the steering wheel with his stub. He's using a piece of floor trim that you'd pull off of, out of your apartment or whatever. He's using that for the gas and the brake.
Wow.
And I'm just looking at him, and his eyes are so glossed over. I'm like, oh man, he's lit up. So I had the rookie handle the stop from that point, and I said, "Come on over and talk to this guy." He walks up and he's like, "What?" I said, "Hey man, just go ahead and arrest him. There's no need to even talk." And you hear the guy, he's like, "Oh, come on, Poe, do I got to go to jail again?" And I'm like, "Dude, come on, you've got look at what you did to the road." So he's sitting there, and the rook reaches in, tries to grab hold of him and pull him out. He reaches around like this and puts his good arm around the headrest of the car. He's got like gorilla strength in that good arm. And I'm dying because the rookie's trying to do everything he can to get him out of the car. And I open up the driver's side door, the passenger side door, and I come through, and I'm like this, and he turns over and looks at me. He's like, "Oh, this ain't good." I said, "Come on out." So he reaches down and undoes his seatbelt, and he comes over to my side. And I said, why didn't you just get out that side? The door was open and it's closer. He goes, I don't know that kid. Right. I go, okay, come on.
He was more comfortable with you, man.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you arrest me? Why are you going to make him arrest me? I don't want him to arrest me.
I tell the rook, go ahead and cuff him up. And he says,
how?
He says, how do I handcuff him? I'm like, oh, good Lord. You're a college student and you have no common sense. Okay. Take his good hand, put the handcuff around it, take his arm behind his back, pull it over to the opposite side, and handcuff it to the farthest belt loop you can get hold of.
Yeah.
And the hilarious thing was, I never actually touched it during the whole process, but we get in front of the judge. And the judge goes, well, do you have anything to say? He goes, Your Honor, I'd been doing coke. I'd been drinking. And he goes, but you know what? Officer Poe didn't have to slap the crap out of me. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, you slapped me. And I go, nobody hit you. And he goes, yeah, you hit me. And I go, no, I've never hit you. And he says, are you sure about that? I go, yeah, bud. And he goes, yeah, it was probably the last time I got arrested. And I'm like, you just got a script you play off of whenever you're getting arrested. And that's bad. So
that's repeat stuff. Yeah, definitely.
You got out before all this body cam mess, right?
Oh, we had them.
Oh, you had them?
Yeah. But I've always been real big. I don't like putting my hands on people unless it's absolutely necessary. I mean, you have to handcuff them. You have to lead them. But the fact is I don't like putting my hands on people.
Absolutely not. It's not if it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Protect yourself,
And that's the thing is not just the liability or the fact that you could go to jail if you did something wrong. It's a simple fact of, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what kind of diseases or illnesses they could have, if they're social or if they're not, able to be contracted. And those kinds of things, they just, I got a wife and kids at home. I don't want to be bringing that stuff home to my family. So, but
protecting yourself.
Yeah. Pete, as you were talking about breaking into your house, I know the story of elderly woman, late 70s, possibly early 80s. Evening time, about 9 o'clock, she had swept and mopped her kitchen floor, went on up to bed. Guy breaks into her house, steps on the floor, hits that wet floor, falls, breaks it. Turned around and sued her and won $50,000 from her insurance because he stated he was a professional burglar and it cost him his ability to make an income.
Oh my God!
One from judgment from the homeowner or from the taxpayers.
American for that.
Oh yeah,
Did he win that from the homeowner or the police and the taxpayers?
Insurance company.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, those are amazing. A lot of people sue police departments in cities simply because they know that it's cheaper to settle it out of court, throw them a few $1,000s, and get them to shut up and walk away, than to take it to court and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight it in the court system. Sure. So There's
And
a
there's
lot of
plenty
people
of attorneys that'll,
Oh,
take
yeah.
those cases.
They'll take them pro bono too, because they're getting
Yep.
30-40%.
They will.
They get
Yeah.
1/3. And what a lot of people don't know is, I don't know about, most states it works this way, but if you enter into a tort against someone where you're suing them and they offer you a settlement and you decline the settlement, that 1/3 rule goes away. The attorneys then have the ability to charge you for every minute they spend working on that case.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So you could actually end up walking away with you get the 1/3, and they're taking the lion's share.
Or if it's a bad deal altogether, you could end up owing them.
Yeah, there are cases where that's happened too. So it's like the class action lawsuits. The people who make the most money are the law firms.
Yeah.
They sue for $200 million. They've got 200 people who are part of this class action suit. You'd figure it would be a good amount. Well, everybody's getting $200 because a law firm is charging.
I was going to throw that figure
amount.
out, $200. That's exactly the number I was thinking of.
That's what they always seem to be. Is the settlement ends up being in the the $200 range per litigant in it, and it's amazing stuff. But there are a lot of, it's just like law enforcement. There are attorneys who are what you would consider ambulance chasers, but for the most part, they're all good people. Most of them don't even deal in the civil torts like that. A lot of them deal in criminal law. They deal in other areas like corporate law, those kinds of things, where they're not going into court and suing over, little stupid stuff. Like the woman who spilled the McDonald's coffee in her lap. Everybody knows McDonald's coffee's hot, and she ends up spilling it in her lap. And what was it? A $5 million
Millions, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When it went to appeals, the appeals court's like, how in the world is this worth the millions of dollars that she was granted? And she actually ended up only getting about $25,000 out of it.
Wow.
But it was enough that McDonald's changed the way that they did their coffee.
That they changed their whole policy. And I think it was also a part that they didn't have the writing on the lid that says, caution, this may be hot. I mean,
they had it, but
it's coffee.
They had it, but they had to make it bolder, was the ruling on it.
She couldn't read it, which is an older lady, right? I believe is what it was.
Yeah.
They put it in
large print.
Maybe the lid wasn't on right? As you probably claim, yeah.
Well, I mean, when you take coffee out of the microwave, or even in a cup that's got like a plastic lid, and you open it, have y'all not ever just like randomly, for no reason, spill it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just happens. Coffee will just like fly out,
Yeah, Chad may have heard of it. We got a place here called Tim Hortons.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Tim Hortons,
absolutely addicting coffee. Their coffee tastes so good. But if you try drinking it anywhere near the seam of that cup, it's going to drip on you. I don't know what it is, but I could be sitting there in a nice new tan, white, light colored shirt. Next thing I know, I look down, I'm like, are you kidding me? Ruined another one. The wife called me the other day and she goes, I hate these cups. I hate them. I have dripped on myself 3 times today. And I go, yep, you're singing to the choir, hon. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How's it going, Brian?
Hey, poet.
Hello.
What's happening?
How's it going, people?
Good.
How you doing, poet?
So what did I jump into the middle of?
Claire was
talking
telling
about
how
how
she went bear hunting one time a few years ago and took out 3 bears with 1 shot.
Cool.
I was like, wow, Claire, I didn't know you knew how to use a gun, but okay, cool.
There's an interesting comment in this comment section. Maria Demotzi, hi from Greece, just wanted to know, are you deleting comments on videos like last one with Jeffrey? Nothing against YouTube instructions. Have a nice day. Period. Not. Okay.
Oh, I don't know about
Sorry,
that.
Maria, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, might be
yeah, could you be a little more? If you're talking about what went down with Jeffrey last night during our live stream, that was someone who appeared to be intentionally baiting and trying to cause discourse in it. My channel, I'm trying to build a community where we don't do things like that.
Yeah, OSA do
Yeah,
exist.
OSA seems to be rather productive at the moment. I noticed that on Jenna's stream.
They're
And
very
I don't know
accurate.
why I'm answering when you make a statement of "Have a nice day," not, and you're waiting for an answer. I don't work for you. So,
Yeah, I love how
That's
people
funny.
think
Yeah.
it's like paranoia, I mean, and I can
Yeah.
see how it would seem that way, but it very much is a real thing. And, I experienced it very, or as soon as I published something about Scientology, there were immediately, I was having to delete all of these OSA comments because they were constantly trying to discredit.
DVM, where are you going?
Pete, I like your background, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's
You know, when I used red, everybody said it looked like I was worshiping the devil. I think it looks pretty good.
it's
The
my
telly's
Because
still
entire,
it
there.
has a pink
my
tinge
entire
to it.
Nintendo, Sega Saturn, and all video games. Pretty
That's
crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Alexa, basement lights white.
Boom.
All video games.
Nice.
That's cool. I like it.
That,
Do you have
that's almost
Altered
like
Beast?
a Hellraiser kind of vibe. With the light streaming out from the cracks and everything.
Yeah.
Dig it.
Hi, Joe.
So, Chad, Aaron has an interesting question. When they have hurricanes down there in Clearwater, they make everybody leave the Sea Org?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I believe they go in the basement.
Yeah,
That's what I would
they're
assume.
meant to use their powers, aren't they, to like get it away?
Yeah.
So they've never had a storm come to them
This one's coming
because
towards
they use
them.
their powers,
Oh,
whatever their
Yep.
powers are.
Yeah.
Closing
like
Tampa
that-
Airport tonight.
Oh,
what's that woman's name with the stick? The crazy lady with the pink hair who says she goes to heaven all the time.
Goes to heaven.
I
all
don't
the time.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
From the witch.
I want to
Oh.
meet this. I want to see this person though already.
yeah,
Based
yes,
on your
has
Yeah, there
pink
ain't no-
hair.
There ain't no telling.
Oh, pink
Yeah.
hair, stick, goes to heaven all the time.
Yes,
I'm gonna Google it.
Aaron has finished.
she tells a lot about heaven that would surprise most people who's ever heard anything about the Bible.
All right,
She-
Very
she-
interesting.
she here in the States.
crazy cat.
Yeah,
lady?
of course. Where else?
Wow.
Cat cur. Cat.
Yes,
Wait a minute.
yes.
Y'all got some
Speak to
nutballs
them.
over there in Europe too. Don't be just blaming that on us.
Yeah.
Sure,
She has
but-
pink
but
hair because it's
Sweden-
heaven culture. Pink is heaven culture, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There-
God told her she
That didn't get through to me. I usually dye my hair pink in the winter.
Wow,
Yeah,
this
do you
is
guys
some-
are you guys having the just stop oil or just no to oil protesters over there like they are in Britain and France and a couple other countries?
No.
Deviant, where the
I
hell
mean,
did
no,
We have
that-
so many protests. I can't keep count.
Wow.
I really
Did you
can't.
guys
I mean,
see this
we have-
Burning Man protest?
No.
No.
We
I guess
have-
Burning Man's going on. Go ahead.
Okay, so Swedes are. People generally get upset for about 3 days to a week, and then they give a shit about it. So, and I mean, no oil. Yeah, we have a quite a prolific environmental movement in Sweden.
I was going to say Sweden's on the
But
better
it's-
side of environmental stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Aaron, we can't keep these kids' attention long enough here in the States to do anything like that for the most part.
Yeah.
No, and neither do we, and it drives me fucking mad. I want to take a tank and go down to Rosenbad in Stockholm and just drive it through the building. Ah.
Well, someone did that in Colorado a couple years ago.
Oh,
All right.
Can I
really?
just give a
Yeah.
shout out to the chat for
Chad,
everyone
if you're
that
ready, I've got
joined
that
us?
that video
from
pulled up so you
Aaron's
guys can see
channel.
what the
Oh, okay. Let me.
Ranger did. This is crazy.
Let's see the page up or down. See if you're.
Let's see here.
Yeah, do this link. What you did? Oh, there. Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
One doing it there. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Wow.
Turns out
Yeah,
there's a reason.
that's crazy. That then they jumped out and started. The guy jumps out. He turns around, comes back, jumps out, and he's got his firearm up like this, screaming at these unarmed protesters.
Wow.
And I was
That
and like
was
the way the media is
major
just like
issues.
making fun out of them. It's like you're not helping the situation. That's what really annoys me, is that there's this whole thing of, oh, the public don't like it, but it doesn't help when the media are giving a certain narrative to the protests. You know, it's like,
right.
yes, it can be frustrating, but on the whole, like if they actually spoke to the public would be more on their side.
Not here in the States. Here in the States, that stuff, you know, the whole thing of sitting down and creating a chain across the road and blocking roadways off. We've seen people have actually died in the back of ambulances trying to get to the hospital, and it's been blocked by protesters.
No, and I don't mean that you know the public is on the side of that, but it's what they're protesting about. You know, it's sort of like the media is so quick to be on the side of, oh, you know, they're just disruptive. They're, you know, like they're doing it just to create attention, blah blah. When they're not actually saying the whole reason why they're doing it, and sort of.
The problem is they're bringing such negative reactions. First off, the media everywhere in the world is pretty much bought and owned by major corporations as it is. They keep playing a narrative that, you know, it goes against so many things to trying to influence people. That's why people like Joe Rogan and other people, what's his name, Les, the podcasters, nightly when they drop their podcasts, they'll have 10 to 20 times more viewers of their podcasts than the actual news channels will. And people are so tired of it, but they keep ramming this stuff down our throat, you know. But, you know, a lot of people have, I mean, you're seeing the reactions like in the UK where they're literally going out and they're grabbing the protesters and dragging them off the road. You know, then you see the acts like they, hey, Hans, what's going on? They, you know, they go in and they deface priceless works of art.
Oh, that's
I don't understand all that. I feel like that, you know, sort of like that's all just like some PR stunt that they, you know, like the museums must be in it. I can't believe those paintings are the real paintings. It's just disgusting.
It absolutely amazes me that you're going to have a priceless, say, a Van Gogh up on the wall, and you're not going to have something covering it so it can't be damaged like that.
Yep.
I personally think that's negligence on the part of the museum, but also the people who do it need to be held accountable for what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
You mentioned these people. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pete.
I have to revise my my earlier what I said earlier about protest, because there actually was one protest, could be 1 or 2 years ago, where a group of people, I don't know what they were protesting. I don't think anyone really knew. They glued themselves to the highway, to the asphalt.
And they did it at the Porsche dealership as well.
They did it at a basketball game.
That would have been Extinction Rebellion.
Not here. This was a single action in Stockholm, in one of the major highway routes through Stockholm, and it was kind of a shit show. But that's basically as far as when it comes to protest. I mean, we have other problems, problems that are on the rise that we haven't had before. But I think we are, for good and bad, we have a high, not tolerance, but high tillit, confidence in our government, which has very positive effects, but also makes it so that citizens get upset and then say, oh, but the government take care of it. But they don't, because they don't fucking care about you. They care about themselves. They care about getting their name in the book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and that drives
Politics.
me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drives me
I
nuts.
mean, like, it's like when sort of Greta's done all of her things, and then they're just like, "Oh, well done, little girl," and it's like, for fuck's sake, like you're not even getting what she's saying, you know? Like,
the thing is that I 100% back peaceful protesting.
Yeah.
When you're intentionally stopping people from being able to go to work to support their families, you're stopping ambulances.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. That's so far out of what you should be doing with your protest.
Yeah.
And
And
then
Poe, that's what I was going to piggyback on. Is people are getting fed up with this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it more often that people are driving and plowing through these protests.
Yep.
I mean, there's gangs of people. You have the argument that you're fearing for your own safety.
And then that's led into other things. You look in Chicago just recently, there was a group of about 150 teenagers that decided they were just going to stop traffic and have a party in the middle of the road. And the way they started it off was about 50 of them decided that they were going to run and jump on top of this car.
Cars. Yep.
And what do you do when you have an elderly person that's in that car and suddenly have people jumping up and down on top of their car, and that person floors it because they're terrified, and they end up hurting or killing some of these protesters? Well, the person driving the car is going to end up being the one who gets in trouble for it. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunately how it normally works. But what do you do in those situations? We've got to start holding these people accountable. Sure. If you want to peacefully protest. That's awesome. Make your voice be heard. But the minute you start endangering other people's lives is the minute that you need to go to jail.
And it totally
but the trouble is that they shouldn't even need to protest at all. Like the governments need to listen to what they're protesting for. It's like then we wouldn't even need to have all this. That's
the actions that these people are taking are totally discrediting their protest.
Exactly. Chad, do you have something to say?
Oh no, I was just waving by to Marcus. He Chad, he had to cook some dinner.
Oh, okay.
Bye, Marcus. I didn't realize. I thought it was just his computer went.
It's like with the whole gun thing, like the story of the guy we got a call about a guy walking down the street holding a rifle. I go over there to check it out because in
what
state
of Michigan. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
What state?
Michigan.
I'm just trying to think of the gun laws and the legality of holding a rifle in public.
Yep, in Michigan, as long as it's visible, it can be in a holster, and that's considered open carry.
Yeah, same here in Arkansas.
Okay, so here we get a call about a guy walking down the street with a rifle, and what's he doing? Well, he's walking down the street with it. Okay, so I go over there, and I know full well there's a lot of hunters in the city where I was working at the time, and it's not unusual to see someone having walked up to the gun shop to get things, or walking out of the gun shop with a rifle or a shotgun. And so I go walking up. This guy is dressed like he's ready to go on a raid with a SWAT team. He's got the full black commando outfit, the bloused boots that are the bloused pant legs into his boots. He holster on each hip, and he's got an AR-15 strapped across his chest like this. And I pull up and I'm like, okay. And then I realize his wife is behind him holding a banner that says honk if you support the Second Amendment. And I'm like, okay, I see what's going on with this.
Yeah.
And I pull up and I say, hey, what's going on? And of course he's on his phone. Look, the police are already here to harass us. And let's see what they're going to try to do to violate my constitutional rights. I said, not here to violate any of it. I'm just interested. You're out here protesting. What do you got to say? And they wanted to make it very confrontational. I refused. I shut that down immediately. I said, "Look,
that's the best thing you can do because they're the First Amendment orders. Just look at stir up trouble."
And then I realized that not only does he have a gun on each hip, he has one on each thigh, and then he has them down on his boots with the ankle holsters. And I'm literally like, hey, bro, you mind saving some of that Second Amendment for the rest of us there? That's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
That's ridiculous.
He's cosplaying a SWAT team member.
More than I've never seen a SWAT team member come out loaded like that.
Yeah.
But, and he's trying to make this huge point about I'm there to harass him and everything. And I'm like, no, I support you and your right to open carry. I support the Second Amendment. We got a call. We have to respond. So I showed up. And the guy, he just kept going on and on and on. And at one point he turns like this. And in the state of Michigan, we have a law that if you have a firearm and your hand is nowhere near the trigger or anything, but you present the muzzle to someone else, it's actually against the law.
Yeah, muzzle.
And when he did that, I grabbed the barrel and he started screaming, "Get your hands off my gun." And I said, look here, next thing that's going to happen, you're going to go to jail. Get your identification out for me right now. See, mister, I know the Constitution did not know that there was a law that actually said you cannot present the muzzle of a firearm to another person and it not be a crime. So he thought he was just perfectly fine, just out there, just whipping that thing around however he wanted. He got in front of the judge and the judge is like, honestly, you messing around with Poe like that, you're lucky he didn't put a bullet through you. So
he went to YouTube University, so he thought he had a law degree.
Well, you can tell that he probably never had any formal training because his first mistake was having the muzzle in the air. He should have had it pointed down at the ground.
Had he had it angled like this and turned towards me, I wouldn't have had a problem. But the problem is it's angled like this, so when he turned, it's pointing right at my face.
Gun safety.
Sorry, I just don't like that. Don't point a gun at my face.
Please don't point your loaded gun in my face.
Yeah, and it was a fully loaded AR-15.
So he had it in condition. We call it condition 1.
He had it hot. It was ready to go.
Did he even have the safety on?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, at least he wasn't totally stupid.
I didn't. But see, the way he had the weapon was on him. The safety side was to his chest.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after I grabbed the weapon from him and took the weapon as evidence that I saw that he had the safety on. But once I took the magazine out and cleared the chamber, he was hot and ready to go.
Are those AR-15, are they semi-automatic or fully automatic?
You can't have a fully automatic here in the United States unless you have special licensing for it.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Which is nearly impossible, right?
It's gotten very hard in the last few years.
Yeah.
I have no use for a fully automatic weapon.
No.
No
one who's not in an active war situation.
Yeah, and most people
or
don't have a
even
need. Yeah, most people don't have a need
because
for
you just waste ammunition.
But then again, they have these bump stocks, and now with the Glocks, they have the switches, which is turning your semi-automatic into essentially a fully automatic.
I'm sure it much is. It's using a mechanism which allows every time the receiver comes back, it recharges it and it fires it as immediately as the receiver pulls forward. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially turning it into, I personally don't have a need for it, but our Constitution doesn't say very nice.
That's nice.
Oh.
Now you need to paint my picture right in front of all that. And we're good to go.
Nice.
That's really nice. I can't do watercolor.
Beautiful.
That's the one painting I can't do anything with is watercolor.
Yeah, it's acrylic watercolor.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
No, I'm getting a bit better at it.
Beautiful.
But I have a Barrett 50 cal semi-automatic sniper rifle that can reach out and touch you from 3 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs that? I can't. What am I hunting? Dinosaurs? I got it as that was one of those kind of things. And but I mean that's the point of it. The Second Amendment doesn't say you're not allowed to have this. It says you're allowed to keep and bear arms. It does, it doesn't go into that. I understand the whole point, the point of you can't have the fully automatic. There's no need for that. But, the people that want it, they get the licensing for it and they use them in the proper way. And that's my whole point of that story is when you act like that and you do those kinds of things where you're clearly trying to get people to pay attention to you, that you're abusing the Second Amendment. and
Yeah.
you're scaring people, and they're going to make people that don't want anything to do with Second Amendment rights. So
It's a big thing people do in Oregon. I mean, there are YouTube channels dedicated to it,
yeah,
and it's under the guise of bringing awareness. But they know what they're doing.
yeah, it's I
There's a lot better ways to go about it.
oh yeah, I was 7 years old first time a gun was put in my hands, and that was when first time I went out hunting with my father and my grandfather.
Yeah,
And
I grew up around them too.
yeah, I mean, but as soon as my kids were old enough to understand firearms, sat them down, put them in their hands, showed them everything about, of course, they were unloaded. But the whole point of it was I wanted them comfortable to where they didn't have that curiosity that led them to want to go and try to get to the firearms in the house. I'm one of those, everything's in a safe. It's, everything's unloaded. If it's something that I'm worried about the kids could get to, I have the trigger locks on them and things like that.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of people that just leave that stuff laying around. I just threw it up on top of the dresser fully loaded. My 6-year-old got hold of it and killed the cat.
Yeah.
It happens. No,
No, it doesn't.
use some common
happens.
sense, please.
That's the problem, that
Totally.
people don't have common sense in general.
Well,
That's
welcome
funny.
to the world we have.
That's funny.
That and these young people, there's a lot of young people nowadays that just don't seem to want to take accountability for things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that's something that how like with these protesters, the ones who are throwing the paint on these priceless paintings, blocking the roads, and they're not, they think that nothing should happen to them because they're out there for a cause. Well, yeah, there are repercussions. You just destroyed a painting that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And you did it because you wanted to. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I will put some context into that, because there's obviously I listen to a lot of things about all this to understand it myself, because I'm very sort of like pro on the obviously sort of like climate change stuff, and it is an emergency, and there's been very many years I've become a lot more controlled in myself with it, but there was very many years when I was the one that was like going up screaming to everyone and being like, don't you understand what's going to happen? There's not going to be sort of a home for sort of like your kids kind of thing.
Right.
And as someone that's doesn't have children, not like to have children, it's sort of, I feel like if I've got that much passion about it, sort of why has no one else got that much passion? So, and in terms of the paintings, it's this thing of what I get from it is, well, why does it matter? Sort of like our habitat, because it isn't that the planet's going to die, it's that we're going to die because we don't have the habitat to survive. Our habitat's going to die, so sort of like, what does it matter that a painting is ruined, when no one's going to be around to enjoy it? They are doing such strong protests. So obviously it started with Extinction Rebellion. They have changed to then going in and being policy change makers, where we need to have the change, because it's the government not listening. So then Just Stop Oil and such things have taken over the direct protesting, which is there to carry on that
narrative.
Sort of, narrative, but like just the action of sort of bringing the severity of the issue, basically, to keep it in people's minds, because the media are not telling the truth and not going on about it enough. which is just devastating all round. You know, it's sort of like it's so easy to be like, oh look, you know, whatever BBC presenter, or oh, you know, like sort of Trump might come back into power, all these sort of things that although obviously Trump is
But what no one realizes is that it's the exact actions of the people like that put Trump in power in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep.
exactly,
It's the you have to follow what I say because I know what I'm talking about and you don't.
Yeah.
They don't realize that at 55 years old, I grew up with every 5 to 10 years we had a new doomsday prediction. The world was going to freeze over in 12 years.
Oh God!
Yeah, but
we were going to have
different to the fact that there is a climate emergency. You know, it's sort of like
I don't deny that.
Under that
But I'm just so sick and tired of hearing every few years that there's going to be this ultimate thing that's going to doom planet Earth.
Oh, I get that.
And never happens. You know, like they said, all the polar ice caps are going to be melted by 20 something, and it was going to flood the entire world. And then you see that the polar ice caps are actually now growing back. And all the politicians who were screaming the doomsday went down and bought houses in the Hamptons right on the beach. Well, if that's going to be flooded for the next 5 miles, why did they go down and spend $25 million on a home on the beach?
Are you talking about more of a politician view or a religious view of this end of the world?
What's that?
I said, are you talking more of like a religious view or how politicians are framing this?
Well, I'm talking about the every few when I was young, I remember the first one I remember was that the world was going to be going into another ice age within the next 10 to 12 years. Then after that, we had the one where the world was going to die of famine within the next 10 to 12 years. Then we had acid rain is going to burn the earth barren in 10 to 12 years. And we kept getting these, and they were making it Popular Science, all the big magazines, all the news stories and all that. And you start seeing it, and it's the same people coming out with these doomsday predictions every 5 years or so. And they're making these grandiose predictions that the world is going to die because of this. And for a lot of us, you know, we've heard this so many times, it's hard to honestly take any of it serious anymore.
It's kind of
but doomsday is a religious thing, is a cult thing, is not a...
Well, no, I'm talking about as in the world is doomed, that the planet is going to die because of climate change and things like that. I don't deny climate change in the least bit. I believe it, you know.
But I've never heard
is
that.
these same five people saying it.
Thing.
Yeah.
Doomsday things are different.
It comes down to the boy who cried wolf syndrome, you know.
Yeah, that perfect. That's it.
Yeah, and I kind of get what Pete was asking. The only environmental thing because you know, you and I, Poe, we grew up at the same time. The only environmental thing I remember was the ozone layer. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the ozone layer.
But we had all kinds, because I grew up in a mainly Protestant Christian environment. We had all kinds of the doomsday ones. You know, the millennium. You know, the big one was 2000, and then Y2K. Yeah. But yeah, most people around here just took it in stride, you know.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about protesters earlier. The only protests I've seen around here, you'll see some pro-life ones every once in a while, but the only one I've seen consistently is there's this dude who walks around in Conway with a American flag hung upside down on a pole.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
And people honk at him and all that stuff, and it's, you know, I've never seen people mess with him or anything like that, because you know, here we just most people just like to get along.
Well, here, if you know, we had the problem around here back during the last two major presidential elections, where if people had Trump signs in their yard, you had people would literally come up and destroy them, steal them, whatever they could, or damage the people's property. But you never saw that on the other side.
Yeah, I live in a red state, so
okay.
Yeah, so yeah. The most I saw during the 2 election cycles was people get pissed off on Facebook and not talk to each other.
Yeah, and to me that's amazing. You have actual families divided because they're each on different divide of the political spectrum.
Yeah,
and they won't even talk to each other. You know, your family, your
That's
blood.
insane.
Why are you treating each other like that? I've got an aunt that, you know, if you don't tie into everything that she says and believe everything wholeheartedly, we haven't talked in 3 years because she will not have anything to do with me. And my point is, I send her a message every once in a while. Love you. Just want you to know I'm thinking about you. Because you know what? I don't. And her anger with me was the fact I wouldn't get engaged with the political viewpoints. And that, I mean,
part of it, Poe, is a need to be right and not give. You know what I mean? It's a need to be right in their head.
Yeah, it's sad. You know,
narcissism.
Well, the cardinal rule is don't talk about relationships, religion, or politics.
Yeah, or money.
Or money. Well,
my mum says
What's left to talk about?
But if you talk about religion, you can talk about cults all day long, though. You know.
Yeah.
But only other cults.
Religions. Yeah. Religion.
Yeah, not the cult that you're in.
Yeah, not the cult that you're in, but the religious atmosphere around here is slightly culty, and like I was telling, I talked about this on that one chatathon. We do have he's my second cousin. He's a pastor, and he does have a Christian cult, is what my brother called it.
What's his name?
My cousin's name is Dickie Harris, and his church is an old house about 6 miles as the crow flies south of me. And
where do you live at, Brian?
I live in Arkansas.
Okay.
I live about 45 minutes northeast of Little Rock.
Okay.
So in the central, that's why I tell everybody in the chat that I'm from Central Arkansas.
What street are you on, Brian?
I live out in the middle of nowhere.
Zip code and postal number, please.
Yep. Social.
What route am I on? I live in a very small town called Enola. If you spell it backwards, it spells alone. There's actually a story. And one of the story is that there's a salt lick. The reason this area got settled was there's a natural salt lick on one of the rivers around here. So that's where all the animals and stuff would go, and trappers and all that stuff. So someone saw that someone had carved a loan on a rock near the salt lick, and they read it backwards. That's the story. That's like
Why? Were they illiterate or just severely dyslexic? Or
I don't know. But that's the story. It doesn't get explained. There's actually, if you go to the Faulkner County Museum's website, there's actually breakdowns on the different communities around here, and you can read the story. So that's a good thing about, a little bit of trivia about if you spell it backwards, it spells alone.
We'll give you.
Well, I live in hell, so. In Swedish, helvetet.
We actually have
backwards. You actually live in left.
Le.
We have a hell Michigan, and you can literally buy a square inch of hell if you want.
Wow,
that's cool.
Along what you're talking about with the name of the city, I had a great uncle that, as long as I knew him, as long as I was alive, we called him Ari. Yeah. And this last time, when just recently I went back to the family cemetery in Kentucky with Mom, we go down once a year and lay flowers on the graves, make sure everything's taken care of. And I looked at the tombstone and I said, "Hey, Mom, who is this?" And she goes, "That's your uncle Ari." And I go, "Are you all dyslexic or something? Because this guy's name is Ira." Like, well, that's just how they always told me. And I go, my goodness, the hillbillies. Ugh.
Oh yeah, got a little hillbillies.
Oh yeah, we were talking with a friend of ours. I made a big batch of kimchi the other day. And we were talking to a friend of ours, and she does a lot of canning. And she says, "Well, didn't your mom teach you how to can?" And I said, "No." I said, I talked to Mom about why she doesn't do any canning and everything. And she says, I grew up as a child. My mom was born in a coal mining camp in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Where they all lived in tents instead of houses. And she said, she was telling me how she spent her entire childhood eating canned foods, where they'd actually boiled them, put them into the cans, let them settle and everything. And she said once she had met my father and they had the money, she said, I never in my life will ever eat canned food like that again. She said, I spent my entire life eating that stuff that had no taste to it. And she said, I just want nothing to do with it. So,
yeah, my mom is, my extended family is from the northeastern part of West Virginia.
Okay, then
near Morgantown.
Yeah.
That's the biggest city that people would know. That's where the University of West Virginia is located. And yeah, she grew up in those mountain hollows and stuff and all that stuff. So
and
we never had that stuff around the house either.
And I was actually born there in the same house that my grandmother was born in. And what's hilarious is my mother was so anti me having a Kentucky birth certificate. She made my dad drive me and our grandmother home back to Ohio, and then went to the hospital and said she had a live birth at home. And that's the crazy
funny
thing about that is it's a true story. She did not, because there was such a negative attitude towards people from Kentucky there, that they were stupid hillbillies, they were dirty and all that. So she was like, I am not having my child put through this.
Imagine being born in West Virginia and raised in Arkansas.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, especially when I was in the Navy, I got all kinds of jokes. All kinds of jokes. People look at my feet. Where are your shoes? Oh, why do you got shoes on?
Yeah. That for me, when I first hired with the police department, my accent was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I used hillbillyology on a lot of stuff. It wasn't a gas station, it was a filling station, stuff like that. And literally my first lieutenant sat me down one day and he says, you got to do something about that, because people just look at you like you're a big dumb hillbilly. He says, this is really going to affect how you do coming up in the ranks of the department.
Oh yeah.
And but what I found amazing, what I found was amazing was in our city, we had so many people claim to be from Pikeville, Kentucky. They'd all come up to Michigan to get jobs with the auto companies and everything. And, I'd be sitting there talking to them. They'd be like, hey, Poe, what's going on? Not much. Hey, do you know I'm from Pikeville too? Well, you are. I didn't know you were from Pikeville. Oh, yeah. When was the last time you was down there? Oh, I ain't never been to Pikeville. How do you say you're from Pikeville? Well, all my people's from Pikeville. No. You're from Michigan.
Yeah.
Your people are from Pikeville, but you're not. We call them brar hoppers. People coming from Kentucky into different states because they're jumping brar. Yeah. So, all right, folks. Well, I'm going to slide out of here. Let you guys continue. It's been an amazing talk.
I got hockey at 7, so I'm going to have to skate in a minute too.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go here.
Great to see you again.
Excellent.
Okay.
Right. Good night.
Pleasure to meet
Take
everyone.
care.
You too. Nice meeting you, Pete.
Great. You as well, Paul. I'll see you soon. Chad.
Yep.
We'll talk. We got a whole bunch of things to cover.
Oh, you out too, Pete?
Yeah, I got hockey tonight. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have to talk more next time.
My pleasure. We got a couple
like
things
you said,
we
if you
got to
ever
catch
want to
up
do
on.
a stream together with you and me, let me know.
I totally appreciate it. Hey, Brian, pleasure to meet you.
Nice meeting you,
Vivian and
Pete.
Terry, Claire, beautiful.
Nice
painting.
meeting you, Pete.
You as well.
Thank you.
Have a great night, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Well, I actually have an announcement.
Oh, go ahead, poet.
Oh.
I started my publishing little deal, and today you can get a short collection of non-Scientology related poetry on Amazon Kindle.
Oh wow!
Oh, exciting!
Yeah, it's a short little thing. It's if you go to my YouTube page, it's in the community. The link to it's in the community tab. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm gonna order proofs just to see how it looks for a for a paperback, and hopefully next week I'll be saying it's available for so y'all can buy it.
Yay!
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations, folks.
Yeah, and hopefully soon I'll have the Scientology collection out, and then probably in October I'm going to be asking for submissions for a SPtv anthology: poetry,
Ooh.
photographs, painting, artwork, short stories, something, within reason, maybe 1,000 words, 1,500 words, a couple pages, and
with a theme of cults or Scientology or
whatever. The only criteria is you guys to be in the chat or any, and probably how I'll do it is the contributor will be known by their screen names.
Nice, yeah.
So whoever, just make sure.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and so that will be a Aftermath Foundation fundraiser also, along with my collection. So
that'd be really
and Mrs. J is working with me to illustrate everything. She did the cover for my book, which is awesome. I can't wait to show it to everybody. But yeah, that should be coming soon. So the hope is to my Scientology collection will be out soon, and then the anthology, I'll do all the submissions in October, get it done for December release.
Oh wow, look out for that.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yay.
yeah. So
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
yeah, so a beach.
Oh,
I don't
very
know.
nice.
I have it set to where it can be in all markets. So it might just be the U.S. market that it's available in. I don't know. I'll have to go look at that. I'm kind of, I was kind of what Liz Gale's doing. I was kind of doing the same thing, and I was going to wait to put out this other collection. Well, the collection that I put out now, I was going to wait until after the Scientology one comes out, and then I said, nah, I'll just go ahead and do it now, get the experience, figure out all the bugs, and go from there. It's actually quite easy. They give you the tools to do cover, to do the cover art, and like the cover art for mine is something that they help me generate and stuff, and it's an interesting learning experience.
Okay.
That's excellent.
Mhm.
A question on a completely different topic. Not completely, but more or less. This is the pre-show,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
but am I correct in stating that Aaron's not only
That
been
is
live,
mid-show.
he's ended the live 40 minutes ago.
Yeah,
That was
he
with
was-
Jenna. That was a
He
special.
was on like 2 hours before this show, so
3 hours. They
once
were
again there is potentially no mid-show.
they were on for 3 hours altogether. Him and Jenna.
I said to Juliana that maybe we'll come
Because-
up with another show to then be the mid-show between this show and the post-show.
Because
Do it.
You know what? I really want
Reese
to
is
say.
going live. Sorry,
Oh no!
Re-
Oh, that's cool. Oh, so
Reese
then
is
she's
going
out.
live in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
She's
it's
the mid-show.
it's
I
probably
was
it's
She must
probably
be on the show then, right?
yeah, it's probably her and Aaron
Oh.
because they'll be going over more
Yeah.
phone calls.
Yeah.
yeah, but then everything is as usual. So
Yeah.
the live
right,
with
that's
Jenna Miscavige was just
Yeah, well,
That was just an extra.
I didn't think
Yeah.
they intended on being on that long.
No.
No.
Yeah, they were on for
It was
a long time.
fascinating chat though.
Yeah,
It was. She started out real shy, and the more Aaron started talking, the more she started talking.
And you know what I was going to say? I really commend him for not bringing up chats on the screen, because I think
Yes.
that was really intentional to ease her in, because
Mhm.
obviously, like he was saying, like how nervous she was.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of again kind of sort of helps like encourage sort of like me personally like to do more of this, like from sort of what I want to do on my channel, because I'm also so kind of nervous about it. Like I like this sort of doing it with other people, but doing it on my own, and
Yeah.
because I like the time difference, I sort of get really, you know, worried that sort of not many people are watching, but kind of yeah, seeing people like her that I think is sort of seems so like they should be so seasoned at sort of being on screen and things. But yeah, it kind of makes me not feel too bad about myself.
I don't think I will ever be able to. I mean, I'm fighting constantly, and the worst thing is but one issue is that I know it shows, which only makes the whole thing worse. That I'm extremely. It's okay to be on screen as long as I'm not aware of me being on screen.
Yeah.
But with this format, you cannot not see yourself, and it's
Hey, the hardest thing for me when I started out my YouTube channel was seeing myself in my videos. You know,
yeah, I could
Yeah,
never
Yeah,
do
that's,
like
I like going live. I can't deal with edits.
and
no
I hate
editing with.
I hate editing. No, that's why I'll re-record several times, but I read it and then I go off the cuff on what I was thinking when I wrote it, or whatever, and it generally works out pretty good. But the only problem is I'll go back later and go, oh, I should have put that in there.
Yeah.
And no, one and done. Just and I go like, okay, I'll know instantly after I hit the stop whether that's you know, a good one or not, and if not, I'll re-record it. Thanks, Creepy. I'm glad you think I'm awesome.
I could
you were.
never. I could. I mean, hearing my own voice, having to see
Oh,
my
God.
fucking face.
Oh God,
I swear I would take
Oh, hey.
like a cheese grater and just.
I've gotten used to it because
No.
what I would do is I would watch
Did
them
you call me?
over and over and
What's
over
wrong?
again, right?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
I
like
don't think so. All I ate is a hamburger.
inoculating yourself to it,
All I ate is a hamburger.
making yourself immune.
Mm.
Because your voice to
Yeah.
me, you look fine and your voice sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
It's just like with everything, it's getting over the guy in here.
Yeah.
That's and that's been my issue
Yeah.
for as long as I can remember. I was getting better at it actually, being able to ignore myself and kind of be like a floating semi-working brain. But apparently that's called dissociation, and it has a bad side effect.
It can have negative consequences, but just be. You know, it's like you know, like who cares? You know, it's nice. It's like I have a very hard time accepting compliments. You know.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Creepy telling me I'm awesome. There's this little voice in the back of me goes, "No, you're not. No, you're not." You know, and my writing is my writing. If you like it, you like it. Great. If you don't, there's plenty of other poets and other writers out there you can like. If there's something you don't like about it that you can give me specific criticism for, not just saying this line sucks. You know, why does this line suck?
That's just you.
You know, that's not being critical. That's being a critic. You know, not
Nice,
criticism.
dude.
That's critique. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What are they? Placemats?
Granny squares.
Granny squares.
Yeah, I'm going to make a sweater.
It's beautiful.
It's something like that I couldn't do. Well, maybe I could, but
It's counting in my head, which is why I look down and I count. I can listen while I count, but I can't talk while I'm counting.
Oh.
Multitasker.
I can't do. I don't even get what you're counting when you have to count. So I just keep knitting. These are all my balls of wool.
Oh, I like those.
Oh wow.
What are you going to make?
So with the pink in particular, I've got some.
I thought you had made the ball.
So there's a a jumper that I had that was cashmere that I shrunk. So I'll probably end up sort of making something similar to this, just because then I can sort of do it in a square. But that other one was sort of a bit more fitted. So we'll kind of see where we go with it. But I'm kind of thinking of just knitting like sort of rectangles and then kind of cutting them out as I do with cloth. And like overlocking the sides so that then it doesn't come apart.
Well, I just got a message that my battery's at 4%, so I'm gonna head out.
Okay, thanks for
Bye.
stopping by,
Nice
Terry.
to see you, Terry.
You're welcome. Sorry, I'm not more talkative. Bye.
No worries.
You're
Bye.
cute anyway.
Oh wow, bigger face now.
Cool. Nice. Perfect.
Yeah, I the good and the bad.
Also, I just
Oh my
got
God.
down this.
That's
I wanted to
cool.
share it
Oh,
with
that is
Oh.
amazing, Claire.
So this is one that I did last winter because I watch something called Lawyers and Dragons
There.
on YouTube. And this so there's a cat riding a horse
Oh,
and
wow.
the characters in the
Puss in
so
Boots.
it's basically D&D but it's lawyers playing.
Put it out again
It's
because
very, very hilarious.
I can only see it on the computer, so I have to wait for it to.
Oh.
to-
I'll
yeah.
put it
I'm sorry. She's looking.
That's cool.
she's looking.
Is it coming out?
Oh yeah. I see the kitty. Dun, 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 dun.
Poet, do you have
Riding in the
a
water line. Sorry.
is
Yes.
that a virtual background or is that a different?
No,
room in
no,
your
no,
house?
no. That's my house. That
That's
rug.
nice.
That's a
I
rug.
like- Oh, it's a rug. Oh,
I
like
got that. I bought that rug in Turkey.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've been. I went to Turkey 3 times while I was in the Navy, and
Oh, nice.
and it was on my second port visit there that I got that. That's
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
some of like the best.
yeah. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
if you watch my videos.
Oh my God, there's.
Yeah, someone has to turn down there. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah, me too. If you watch, the background is in my videos is that's a bench seat right there in front of the rug. I got it hanging on the wall because it's way too pretty to be walking on. You know,
Yeah,
and I don't want
absolutely.
dog hair on it.
Very good.
Nice.
Very good.
Do you have a dog?
I have 3.
3.
3. I have my oldest her name is Bella. She just turned 11 a couple months ago. And my middle one, his name is George. He's a Chihuahua, and I didn't name him after George Lucas. I actually named him after a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And my youngest is 3. He actually turned 3 yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
And his name is Phil.
Phil.
Phil, you know, and actually, I didn't name him. One of my best friends actually said, "How about Phil for him?" Because I was thinking about it, and his rationalization is, you got all these famous Phils. You got Phil Donahue, you got Phil Coulson, you got Phil Hartman, you got all these Philip Seymour Hoffman. He could be a different Phil every day of the week.
Yeah.
Is that
Fill up
show
the
in his
tank.
first?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a dog person. Never had kids, so.
Oh,
I get it.
Yeah, thank God I didn't, because my ex-wife, she couldn't have kids, and I was better off for it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I too. I have no kids. I really haven't had the opportunity to have kids,
Yeah.
but I never wanted kids because I remember how it was to be a kid.
Mhm.
And once I
Same.
start to realize that I don't have to emulate my parents, I realized I have to be able to
Yeah.
take care of myself and be a stable and I mean, it's not like unstable. But still, if
Yeah.
you have ever seen me wake up in the morning where I'm just a bucket of rage
Yeah.
because of PTSD, does that to you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my children or child to have to internalize
Yeah.
that.
It's breaking the cycle is important. I had a very chaotic childhood, and everything, and I actually wanted to be have a kid so I could raise them differently, but I actually have to admit, it's not until I'm 50 years old that I actually probably would have been a good father, and it's I don't want to have to leave a kid in their mid 30s, so it kind of all worked out. I have my poetry that I can leave behind, and my niece, who is 5, I'm going to leave everything to her. She is in kindergarten and reading at a 4th grade level. So yeah, she's very, very smart. So that's who I'm probably going to leave everything to. So
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Great.
that's
Great.
that's really great.
Besides-
It makes me so happy. I'm almost I get emotional.
Yeah,
but not because
besides
I'm
there's way too many of us on this planet, anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there are
you
too
know,
many
too many
too many
people.
people who I don't know how many times, especially when I was younger and people still had hope or thought I was just dreaming when I said I didn't want kids. Who were like, I'm selfish, and to me there is, and I'm not saying this like a negative thing, but there is nothing more egotistical than to produce a copy of yourself. And as I said, it sounds very, very negative and derogative towards any parents.
Yeah.
That's not how I mean it. I mean, how can it be selfish to look at yourself and say, I would love that kid to the moon and back 10,000 times. But I wouldn't be a good parent.
Well, then that proves just how conscientious you are about it.
How well you know yourself.
Exactly. Like I said, in my 20s, I look back now. In my 20s, I wasn't capable. I was still a teenager. In my 20s, and because I grew up in a very small town, isolated in a lot of ways. It was. I thank God I grew up here in a lot of ways, but there was other things that I didn't have. I love you too, Steve-O.
I was just going to say.
Don't forget everyone to visit them to Steve-O's merch shop, guys.
But yeah, it was. I call my generation out here the last of the free range children. We were lucky. Yeah, I could be. I hung around with a certain number of guys, and we had 3 households we were at. Mine, the one just right down the road, and one a little bit further down the road. So everybody knew everybody. I had 3 different. I had 3 second moms. They took care of me just like they took care of their own.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you don't get these days because people are afraid. That's what it comes down to, fear. And fear, I don't know how many people know who Frank Herbert is. Dune. Frank Herbert, Dune, the movie Dune.
Oh, Dune, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Dune.
Yeah.
There's the mantra in that in the movie and the book is fear is the mind killer. It's true,
Mm-hmm.
You have to overcome fear.
I've only seen the first one, but yeah.
The movie, if there's don't get me started on Dune. That was one of the hardest books I've ever had to read. It's an awesome book. I'm a big sci-fi and fantasy nerd, and I can talk that stuff all day long. But I am actually looking forward to part 2 because they're actually doing a really good job being faithful to the book, even though they changed. Like they made one of the main characters, the planetologist Liet Hines. in the book, it was a white dude. They made him into a black woman. But she was still embodied that character because they had good writing, very good acting, very good production, and all that stuff. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. You know.
Yeah.
And so anywho, where in the hell we were going?
Well, but that's the thing, you know, still, because when I saw it, like, people that I went with, it was only like one of them that's read the books, and everyone else was like, oh, like, you know, it's so slow, you know, sort of what's the point?
Oh God, you need to read the book.
No, it's going to be like so many different films because there was like so many different books.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it. Like the cinematography was amazing.
Yeah. Destiny, her question about the Foundation. I've never read any of Asimov's Foundation. I actually like his short stories. And I watched the first couple episodes of it. It just didn't grab me like I hoped it to. But
Asimov, like in the Russian space gent.
Isaac Asimov, he was a writer.
Yeah.
He's Jew. I think he was of Jewish Russian descent.
Yeah.
Yeah, science fiction writer. You know, you got him, Robert Heinlein, Arthur C. Clarke, and of course our favorite L. Ron Hubbard, all wrote around the same time.
Of course, L. Ron Hubbard.
The difference between them three, the difference between them three and Hubbard was they could actually write.
Yeah, I think that it's very funny because Hubbard did write. He did this pulp.
He did all this
not
pulp
novels.
fiction. All that
short story. Exactly, but he also had. He didn't just write science fiction.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of romance and western and every fucking single genre there is.
Yeah.
But they are all the same.
Yeah.
He just it's the same story, the same characters.
It just changed different situations.
The milieu and oh my God.
Yeah. I have actually I used to walk around with 2 books in my hand in high school. You know, books. In my 11th, 12th grade year, that's all I did.
The Bible and Mouse, Lilla Röda.
No, it was like science fiction, fantasy fiction, you know, horror fiction. Stephen King, Terry Brooks, Isaac Asimov, and all that stuff. And I have never read a single word written by L. Ron Hubbard. Not a single. I have
in as a grown up.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and you know, I remember the Dianetics commercials in the 80s, you know. And
thinking, we talked about them.
That's weird.
They were so intriguing, though.
Yeah. No, but it was like a self-help book from a science fiction writer. You gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they're almost ready to go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta wrap it up if everyone wants. If anyone wants to say a final word.
Oh my God!
Yeah, just check out my Kindle.
Subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, subscribe to mine. Check out my Kindle on Amazon. Just go to the Kindle store and type in my name, and it's like the second selection down. Or go to my channel.
I don't have Kindle.
You can get a Kindle app on your computer. It's free.
Is it? Oh, it is.
Yeah, you can get a Kindle app. You can read it on your phone. You can read it on your computer.
Will you do a print?
Yes, the print edition is going. Hopefully, it will be available next week.
Awesome!
Yeah.
I love books. Books.
Yeah, I wanted to be a librarian I wanted to be a librarian in my youth.
Oh,
wow.
Perfect job.
Awesome.
Though, really.
Good. All right, I'll see y'all fellas later.
All right, I'll see you guys in the chat.
See y'all in the chat.
Deviant, I wanted to say you're beautiful.
Yes, you are.
Beautiful.
And your voice sounds nice too.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's the only reason I popped up here was to say you're beautiful and just keep believing in yourself, honey.
Hey, and if I can make myself a YouTube channel, you can too.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Pretty soon we're gonna have late chats.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. We all keep helping each other.
Love you. See you soon.
You guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. I'll see you guys in the chat of Levin Smith. I'll be driving this, so I won't be able to really be in the chat for part of it, but I'll be around after that. Bye, Steve-O. Bye, Beach. Bye, everyone. Talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us.